Hi guys, Christy here, and it is my July wrap-up and my August to be read. Yay! So the first book I read in July is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I really like this book. I thought that the fantasy aspect of it was just fascinating and interesting, and it kept me going page by page. The story building and the world building was just really well done. I loved the love interest and the friendship here. The one thing that I did not like about Shadow and Bone was sometimes I felt like the protagonist in the story was just going along for the ride, and sometimes it felt like she was just doing as she was told instead of thinking for herself. But all around, I really enjoyed this read, and I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. So Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. Next book I read was an ebook, and it was an ARC, and it was Glitter by Mona Darling. Now this was a novel of short erotic stories, and I found it really quite interesting with the way that the author put them across to her audience. So I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. It wasn't the best read I'd ever done, but it wasn't the worst either. Now, I have to tell you, if you are going to go out and get Glitter by Mona Darling, that be aware that this has a extremely high heat level. So be aware of that. Don't walk into it blindly. Like I said, it is erotica, so be aware of that. The next book I read was Awakening by Jeannie Gray. And this is the first book in the Awakening series that she's written, and it's not a novella, but I think it might just be classified as a short story. It wasn't too long. I read it in one sitting. I did not connect with the characters in this book like I think I should have. I kind of felt like the female protagonist in it was a little bit whiny for my taste. So I gave the Awakening just 3 out of 5 stars. I did not enjoy it very much. And then I read Awakening 2, and this was an ARC for me, and I wanted to read the first book in the series so that I was able to give the second book a really thorough review. And I have to tell you that both of these stories end in a cliffhanger, and I really dislike cliffhangers, really dislike them. I don't think that that's how you should end a book. It's my personal opinion, so please don't leave me horrible mail about how awful I am because I don't like cliffhangers. I know there's a time and place for cliffhangers, but I particularly don't enjoy reading cliffhangers. And so that they both left off in a cliffhanger was really upsetting to me. And Awakening 2 comes from the point of view from the male protagonist from the first book. And he came across as a little whiny too. So I really struggled with both of these books and did not give them a very high star ranking, just because they did not connect with me. And I didn't connect with the female or the male characters in it. I hate doing bad reviews, but I didn't enjoy them. I didn't enjoy it at all. So those are both books that I've reviewed. Before I forget, you can get all my written reviews, the full written reviews, like what I liked, what I disliked, my overall, how I took the book. Usually I like to do my favorite line from the book. You can get all of that on my blog, and I'll make sure to put the link below. So go to my blog if you want to take a look at that. And as always, if you have a book that you want me to do a video review on, I will be more than happy to do a video review, but just let me know. Otherwise, I will do a wrap-up at the end of the month, and if something tickles my fancy, I will go ahead and do a review on it during the month. So that being said, we can move on. The next book I read was Deep Connections by Rebecca Graff. And this was, I got an ARC of Dark Connections, which is the second book in the Connection series. And Deep Connections was really good. I really enjoyed it. Again, it ended in a cliffhanger, so I had to knock it down a little bit for that, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And then Dark Connections, like I said, was an ARC, and I read them and they were really both really good. The characters in there were well developed, the writing was well done. I really, really enjoyed them. So I gave Dark Connections 4 out of 5 as well, and marked it down again because of a cliffhanger ending. I think that books shouldn't have cliffhanger endings. Like, it's one thing to write a book and then know that it's going to be in a series, but to leave readers hanging on the edge, I really do not like that. Wrap a storyline up for us, for goodness sakes. Come on, I can't be the only person out there who doesn't like cliffhangers. Come on, give me some love. Come on, a little bit of love for Christie out here, because the cliffhangers have got to go. Okay, the next book I read is also an ebook, and it was an ARC as well. It was Uprising, The Fires of Providence #1 by Dawn Jane, and I actually really struggled with this book. I thought, oh my gosh, what is up with these characters? It's about a young girl who is an angel, but there are different classes of angels, and it's regarding which color they are, and there's purple angels and blue angels and black angels, and so depending on where you fall in the color wheel depends on what type of angel that you are. And like I said, I really struggled to get through this book, and then out of nowhere, the last 15 pages grabbed me so intensely, I was just like, oh my gosh. And I haven't been able to stop thinking about this book since then and wondering when the next one comes out. It didn't end in a cliffhanger, thank goodness, but it did end with enough of a push to be like, what is going to happen with these characters? So my review on it, I only gave it 3 out of 5 stars because the first 90% of the book, I was like slogging through, like, what is the point of all of this? Only to get to the end and be like, oh my gosh, that was the point. So there you go. Uprising by Dawn Jane, Fires of Providence #1. And the last 15 pages, wow, totally worth the read just to get to those. So you won't understand it if you skip to the end, so don't do that, but totally, totally worth it. So I really liked it, 3 out of 5 stars. Really, honestly, can't wait to see what happens with these characters. The next book I read was Eleanor and Park, and if you're part of my book club, you know that we read this for, it's a book club for the month, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. If you don't know about this book, you need to climb out from under the rock you're living under and go out and get it immediately. Loved, loved, loved this book. Going on my top reads for 2013. Excellent, well written, awesome characters, great build up, plot, all of the above. Great book, great book. Highly recommend it. So that's Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell, 5 out of 5 stars. Okay, the next book I read was for the booktubeathon that I failed at miserably. That was, I listened to The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Now, I was kind of on the fence with F. Scott Fitzgerald because I was like, I read this book when I was a teenager and I was like, what is so awesome about this book? What I remembered about it didn't classify as a, something that just as a classic to me. It just didn't classify as a classic. And so I thought I need to reread it. A new movie came out. I've seen the movie with Robert Redford in it, and I just needed to get reacquainted with it. So I went ahead and listened to it. And it was good. I was shocked. I was really, really shocked at how much I actually enjoyed it. I thought that it had well-developed characters, well-developed plot line, and above all else, it was written so well. It was written in a way that just paints a picture for you, and you see things like in a kaleidoscope of different colors and different views, and it's just so well written. I really, really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Not the best book I've ever written, but I understand now why it's a classic. So I'm glad the BookTube-a-thon brought that to my attention. So after the BookTube-a-thon, during the BookTube-a-thon, actually, I tried to read Beautiful Creatures, and I got stuck, and I just was like, oh, I don't know if I want to read this, which put me into a reading slump. No good. So I went out and got a book on my tablet, just something, a fast, easy love story that I could just get through really quickly. And that was Rapunzel by Karina Combs. And it's the 4th book in the Demon Tale series that she does. And these are all standalone novels, but they're short. It was like 200 pages. I read it in one sitting. And can I tell you, it was so good. Like, it's really hard to get really well-developed characters in, I think, 200 pages, to the point where it's like, golly, you really are rooting for every single character you come across in this book. And so I really enjoyed it. I gave Rapunzel 4 out of 5 stars, and she does a series where she does a play on all the fairy tales, Cinderella, Snow White, that kind of stuff. And this was the Rapunzel one. Really great. High heat level for, I would say, for it. So if you don't want heat, then this is not the book for you. But I enjoyed it. It was a good read, and it got me out of my reading slump. So that's what I do when I'm in a reading slump. Just FYI, I just grab something that's going to be really quick, that's going to get my imagination just flowing again, and go from there. Okay, so the next book I read was Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. Holy crap. And this is just the dust jacket, because as soon as I finished reading it, my 18-year-old daughter picked it up and is reading it now, because it's that freaking good. Excellent. Top reads of 2013. It's going right to the top. I want to get Never Fade. Yesterday, I need it. I need it. This is a story about Ruby. It's a dystopian novel, but it's different in that it's a dystopian that could happen to us tomorrow, or the next day. It was so excellent. Excellent story. Loved, loved, loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. My full review is on my blog. Okay, the next book I read after The Darkest Minds was Enclave by Anna Guari. And I just love Anna Guari's writing. I think that she writes in a way that's very personable and very, I don't know the word I'm thinking of, but you can really relate to her characters. And this is a story about, it's an dystopian type of novel where when you turn 15 or 16, you get a name. And the main female character in this is named Deuce. And she is a huntress, and she gets banished from everything that she knows and has to go topside, where she's been told that living on the surface of the earth will kill you, and she finds otherwise, and her and her partner Fade have to, fight and find a new place to live and a new place to belong. And there's love and there's confusion, and you totally forget that these characters are teenagers. Totally. Till the very end, where it's like, oh my gosh, they're young people. Excellent book. I've read her Cynthia Jack's series, and there's 6 novels in that series, and I actually read them all in 1 week because they're so good. So I'm really hoping to get to the next book in this, and the 3rd book I think comes out this fall. Excellent read. Highly recommend. High fantasy, sci-fi type of greatness. Just it's all great. Enclave by Anna Guari. Okay. So the last book I read in July was The Letter by Marianne Spitzer, and this was an ARC that I got, and my review will be up By the time this video is up online, it'll be up on my blog, so you can go over there and get the full review. This is about a young lady who inherits millions and millions of dollars from the town recluse, who she comes to find out is her grandfather, and she moves into the haunted house. And I think it's really hard for me. This book was really hard for me. It just had too many words, and I know that sounds really weird, but it just had like too much explanation. Sometimes it was like, I didn't need to know all that. So it took me out of the story because there was sometimes just too much explanation, and it left me going, why? Why do I care about that? But overall, great mystery, great storyline, interesting characters, and some real twists at the end that you don't expect. I actually gave that one 3.5 out of 5 stars. And like I said, by the time this video is up, that blog will be up. So those were the books that I read in July 13. So excited. It was a crazy, crazy busy month. So I was glad that I got through 13. So my to be read for August. And it's in no particular order. I do have, I think, 2 ARCs this month so far. That might change as the month gets going, but right now I only have 2 ARCs. So I will go ahead and get started on those. The first book that I want to read in the month of August is Hallowed, which is the second book in the Unearthly series by Cynthia Hand. And I read Unearthly in June, and I wanted to get to Hallowed and the third book, and I just haven't had a chance to yet. So I apologize for that. I know some people are waiting for my reviews on those, and I'm trying desperately to get to those. The second book I'm going to read in August is Eon, Dragon Reborn by Allison Goodman. Heard a lot of really good things about this. This is about a young girl who pretends to be a boy in order to learn to fight dragons. And it just looks like really high fantasy to me, and I love, love, love high fantasy books. So I'm excited to read that one. The second book I got is Feed, and that one is by Mara Grant. And this is a zombie novel, and I haven't read any zombie books, and I'm trying to branch out a little bit in my genres and within my genres to read just a little bit different stuff. So I've heard a lot of really good things about this one, so I'm going to try that one out. So that was Feed by Mara Grant. The next book on my to-be-read list is Outpost by Anna Guaria. It's the second book in the Razorland series, which the first book was Enclave, from my July reads. So I'm really excited about that. Then I want to read Across the Universe by Beth Revis. I've heard a lot of really good things about this, more than I've heard that it's a really great read. I've heard some stuff about the fact that the covers have changed. So I made sure to get the covers where they would all match. But I'm excited to read it. It looks like a really good fantasy sci-fi read. Like I said, that's where my heart lies with those. So that's exciting. Currently I'm reading Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. Oh, almost forgot her name. It's the first book in the Infernal Devices series. I'm about 3/4 of a way through it, so I should be done probably this evening, and then I'll post a review probably on Sunday. And then the next book that I have on my list for August is Adele Arthur and the Creator's Clock by Judy Ann McClough. And this is an ARC. I don't know a lot about it, so I can't tell you what's going on with it, but that's the next book that I have. And then my second ARC for the month is called The Eyes of Love by Angelina Rose. And again, I don't know a lot about it, so I can't tell you, but that's a book, another book I'm reading. Then I want to try to read Shatter Me by Tahira Mafi. I was really, really excited to read this, and then a friend of mine read it and said that she hated it. So I'm kind of curious to see if it's going to be any good. So that's that one. And then for this month's, it's a book club, we are reading Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. I've heard great things about it. I've heard it's twisted and dark and just an awesome read, and I've only heard really great things about it, so I'm excited to read that one. Then I'd like to read The Immortal Rules by Julia Kagawa. We'll see how that one goes. Dark, menacing vampires. So, woohoo. Then I want to try to get to Anna Dressed in Blood by Kendara Blake. Again, something I've heard really, really great reviews on. It's kind of short, so I think I should be able to get through it fairly quickly. So I'm excited about that read. See how that goes. Then the last book on my to be read for August is Partials by Dan Wells. I heard a reviewer on this a couple of days ago, and I can't remember everything she said about it, but she liked it, and so I just ran out and got it on my tablet that same day. So I'm not quite sure about it, but it is on my to be read for August. So that was 13 books in July and 13 books so far in August. Ooh. We'll see how that goes. So if you've read any of these books, go ahead and comment below. I'd love to hear from you, hear what you have to say, what you think about it. Sorry this video's been so long. I'll also be doing a video about what is coming up in August and posting that this weekend as well, because this one ended up being so long. I apologize. When I edit it, I will try to edit some of the bull out of it. But if you like what you saw today, please like, share, and subscribe. And of course, leave comments. I'd love to hear from people. Let me know what you think. And check out my reviews on my blog. Again, the links are below. Have a great night. See you later. Bye-bye.